And we're back with yet another player profile. Today we are covering L.O.W. He was recently seen in the finals of my Serious Scrappin' 2 tournament against Bobman of RTK, who is certainly a fearsome foe, and he did unfortunately lose that series. And it was actually Bobman, his opponent, who recommended that I include him in this series, and I thought, sure, why not? If your opponent wants to know more about you, then you must be certainly a good player. And I believe L.O.W. knocked me out of that tournament, but I also think on Ent Ladder we trade pretty evenly. He is platinum in rank, which is nothing to scoff at. His self-proclaimed main factions are Skaven and Dark Elves, though the fact that I didn't even know he was a Skaven main does attest to the third part of his strengths. He does have a very diverse champion pool. He will play pretty much any faction for any reason. His other strengths, I would say, are skirmish play and strong army compositions, and my suggestions for improvement would be knowing when to duel, which will be more evident in our second replay. But we have two replays to go through of his. First, Dark Elves against Wood Elves. Let's say about this army. A lot of cavalry, some skirmish with the Scourge Runner Chariots, 3 of them, and then you have some Canadian Assassins and Cav. So it's a lot of Cav. And one way I would describe how low, I'm just going to call him low, even though it's L.O.W. Fuck it, I'll do L.O.W. How L.O.W. plays the game is very much, I would describe, like water. And as we're going to watch on increased speed. You can see his skirmish Cav is out here. It's pretty good at dodging anything that matters. And then on the front line is mixed. Some of it's going to shit, some of it's going fine. But you'll notice that his units are going to move around very swiftly. While some are moving in, others are moving out. He seems to have a good handle on where the battlefield is at any point in time. Doesn't really forget any units, which is important for this style of in and out play. So Cav are pulling forward over here, then the Wild Hunters are going after them, so they're going to skirmish away a little bit. Meanwhile, on the other side, Scourge Runner Chariots are moving in, Cold Knights are cycle charging over there. Then as soon as the Wild Riders leave, the Cold Knights engage with some Glade Riders or Spears. And you see the Wood Elf player is just kind of getting run around the map at the moment, which is a new experience for the Wood Elves. And as L.O.W. just sneaks in here, he routes off some things. When things route and you have the mobility advantage, then you coming back. On, and he starts to pull a little bit ahead in the balance of power that way. So it's a very flow in and out. His Scourge Runner Chariots take only as much damage as they need to. They're very healthy. I guess Dark Riders aren't really skirmish Cav, but they are also microed quite well. In the middle, Malk, it's just being tanky. So the infantry all died for the great cause, but all the assets to Dark Elves that mattered were handled excellently and run all over the map. Now the Wood Elves are just kiting with the last of their ammunition before they lose the game. That was a showcase of his strengths. There wasn't really a lot of duels going on there, nothing like that. And I was worried I would have to call on that replay with Bobman because I noticed it there. But thankfully, in the second replay, he showed me there's a little bit I can talk about on the improvement front. But that last game was flawless. It was, I've watched it multiple times on ×2 or ×3 speed, and unless I really slowed down and picked apart, I honestly didn't see a mistake in there at all. Second main Skaven, he has picked up what I've recently taken to be the correct way to play this matchup, which is some Gutter Runner Kite. He has some more Fire Throwers. He has Gorich for some reason. And then the Gracier of Plague and a bunch of Rat Ogres, some Chaff. It's a good build. I have my own issues with, but that's not really what we're here to talk about. Dreaded 13 summon onto the Hell Cannon is a neat idea, but since it's unbreakable, that crew isn't going to shatter from the sudden shock of damage. Yeah. So Gorich sees, this is what I'm talking about. So Gorich sees Archaon and the Feral Manticores. Archaon hasn't popped Slayers of Kings. He hasn't popped Standard Eye, and Gorich dives in here with no support. This is something, and this isn't just a one-off thing, because you can see immediately he regrets and start to move away. But in the series with Bobman, I also noticed there were a few times where, like, Wulfric the Wanderer was fighting, who was Bobman playing as? Beastman? I don't remember. But there were times where he had Hunter of Champions down, and he didn't really chase the target with the 100 Champions. And then when the 100 Champions wore off, Bobman would turn around to fight him. And he would take that fight, though now he's going to lose it because Hunter of Champions isn't there. So I would recommend a little bit of work on knowing when to and to not take single entity fights. As Archaon pops Standard Eye, I wouldn't be surprised if he pops Slayer of Kings, but Gorich is going to get behind his lines. But that is like the only thing I can see for improvement. I mean, Lowe's platinum, so obviously he's a good player. And just because I mentioned one thing he could do better, it doesn't mean like, wow, what a shit person. Like, obviously he's very good. So his gutter runners are being kept safe, as per usual. Skirmish cav, quote-unquote, because of Skaven, but he's keeping them behind their lines. He knows that if he goes too far out in the reaches, the dogs could catch him or the horsemen could catch him, so now he kind of uses them as an archer position for a little bit. And the warp fires are going in and out, rat ogres are going in and out, chaff's going in and out, and he's just kind of managing. So not everything routes at once, he just wants things to route every so often on their own, stay together. Skirmish cav is still doing okay, good on ammunition, and the Chaos Force is really getting run through the ringer here with these warp fire throwers throwing in bursts every so often, getting charged by rat ogres and all that. It's good wave-based play. Now Gorge takes another duel. He gets fucking murdered by Archaon and that Manticore, but he does some okay damage on the way out. Like, Gorge didn't do nothing. It's just, he did die. Now Chaos is in a bit of a pickle. They have some Skirmish Cav that's running out of ammo, and they have Archie, and that's pretty much it. And while the Grey Seer can fall back, stay away, things are going to cycle charge in and out, in and out. Archaon gets a decent little burning head down there, but another Dreaded 13th is going to spell the beginning of the end for the Chaos Forces. As everything closes in around them, Archaon kind of routes off some of his own troops, but he is surrounded at this point and will fall. That was L.O.W. The purpose of this series is, once again, it's not just about newer players. I actually have no idea how new L.O.W. is. It's just players I don't see on streams a lot or see all over the place, like, oh, Hadries or Falcon or Aerocrastic and whatnot. And when you see them pop up in a tournament, like he did, get into the finals, it'd be nice to know who they are and what factions they made and what's going through their head and that kind of thing. So, if you see them out there in the world or you're playing against them, say hi and root for them. All right, cool. Cool? Cool. Yes. Goodbye.